But really, the stuff that we don't talk about anywhere nearly enough is the real tzaddikim within Chabad and within Hasidut in general, within Am Yisrael in general, that are just pure neshamot, that all they care about is Torah, is the emet, is Torah and emet, and Torah and emet, and it doesn't matter which way it comes, if it comes with a black and white, or it comes with a hat or without a hat, with a beard or without. They just love the Torah, and that's really the real foundation of Chabad, that's the real foundation of Am Yisrael. And, so when you lose somebody like that, it's really a tragedy for us. It's really a tragedy for us. I mean, I know that Rav Zoner is in a better place, a place that, he's going to reward him for all of the beautiful Torah that he learned and taught throughout his life. That's not our concern. The concern is that you're seeing that in a relatively short period of time, whether you want to count this year being the Corona year, or you want to look at the last decade or so, so many good people, so many Gdolei Adol, Tzaddikim, Kedoshim, have left this world in the last 10 years, and it's like, wow, what an orphan generation. Chazal told us that we're going to be an orphan generation. The Gemara Masechet Sotah, page 49b, says that this generation is going to be in a situation where we don't have anything to rely on other than a Kadosh Baruch Hu in heaven. But in reality, what does that mean? A lot of people say, oh yeah, no, I don't listen to the rabbis. I only listen to Hashem. Which is, when you actually start learning a little bit, is probably the most ridiculous statement to say by a single person. To say I only listen to Hashem, I don't listen to rabbis, is an oxymoron. It's like saying, yeah, I eat kosher pig. There is no such thing as I only listen to Hashem, I don't listen to rabbis. There is no such thing. Why? Because our entire Torah depends on the rabbis. Depends on the rabbis telling us, interpreting for us what Hashem said, what Hashem wants. And unfortunately, many times today, we judge, harshly. We judge Judaism harshly because of individuals, and in essence, so harshly that because one rabbi or two rabbis or 1,000 rabbis did something terrible or bad or whatever it is, therefore we say, okay, so we're no longer going to listen to any rabbi, even if it's a rabbi that's not associated with it. Even if that rabbi is, a Gdol Ador, even if that rabbi lived 50, 100, 500, 1,000 years ago. No, I'm only going to listen to what's in the Torah and what I understand. Like, they don't call themselves Karaites, but in essence, they have that type of an attitude, a Karaite that, claims to follow the Torah by simply following the written law. And there's nothing more ridiculous than that. And even more ridiculous than that and more harsh than that is when you have people publicly insulting our sages, our Gdolei Adol, not by saying bad words or calling them funny names or anything like that, but rather by treating them as if they're just like you and just like me and just like him and just like anybody. And the Gemara Masechet Shabbat says something very harshly about such people. He says that the sages from 1600 years ago themselves said that the previous generation, the Kadmonim, the previous generation's sages, they weren't talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, they weren't talking about David HaMelech, they were just talking about the previous generation. He says those previous generations rabbis, they were like angels. And if they were like angels, we are like men. But if they are men, then we are donkeys. And this is, who's saying this? Some of the greatest sages that ever lived are saying this about themselves. They're saying that their rabbis, and their rabbis are angels if we would consider ourselves men, meaning them being men. Okay? But if they are men, if those sages are men, they said that we're donkeys. But not even the donkeys that are able to keep Shabbat, like one of the sages had a donkey that kept Shabbat. No, Pinchas ben Yair. No, we're donkeys that don't know anything. Now, the Ben Ish Chai comes and he says, anyone that thinks that even his own rabbi, meaning the rabbi from his own generation, is like him, for sure is a donkey. So when someone comes out today and simply publicly disagrees or discounts or insults or disqualifies or does anything to less than complete honor and respect and fear of the words of the sages from the previous generation, that is not only a mistake, it's a tragedy, because it's a person that is a donkey that thinks he's human. It's a person that doesn't know what he's talking about, but yet claims to know it all. And this is actually part of the damage that we have today, where people do not have Emunat Chachamim. They don't have any faith in our sages, and what ends up happening is that they decide the law according to their likings. Like if it doesn't make sense to them, then they just go somewhere else. And many times when we quote things and we mention things in the name of the sages, in the name of the Torah itself, people simply, if they, if they agree with it, great. But if they disagree with it, they will do everything and anything possible to disprove it and to go against it and so on. So when a person that valued the sages and is actually one of the few people that I know that had real Emunat Chachamim, he leaves the world, we see that in order to have Emunat Chachamim, you yourself have to be a little bit Chacham. You can't just have Emunat Chachamim and be completely ignoramus. To have Emunat Chachamim, have faith in our sages, you yourself have to have a little bit of wisdom.